Hello, this is going to be a short video. Take a look at setting up threat plates for Season 2. I did use Plater for Season 1 with the quasi profiles loaded up, and they worked pretty good. I do like threat plates a little better because it's lighter on resource load and a little easier to adjust things. So we're going to take a look in one of the new dungeons coming up. So one thing that I do like is the headline view you can get from threat plates. So we've enabled it for friendly nameplates here. What you can see here. We currently have all nameplates showing. Works really good in a Mythic Plus type situation. For raids, I would turn that off. There's a couple things I set up here in my profile. One is to highlight mobs that need to get stunned, which will be an orange nameplate bar. And we'll kind of see how that works here. These footmen here will put up a shield that needs to get stunned. So you can see this guy's got a stun up. His cast bar is highlighted with that orange. Same with that guy. That lets you know you should be stunning that. It also enlarges their nameplate when they're casting the spells you need to interrupt. So in this pack, the two that we need to be watching are highlighted, the two stuns. Oh, watch how that works again. Also on a target enemy, we're going to get this glow highlight. I tried the different ways to highlight your target, and that to me seemed to make the most sense. Also set up in my profile is when you mouse over, it'll enlarge as well. Of course, the whole idea of messing with the nameplates is so that you can more easily pick out priority things when you're doing a dungeon. Oh, look at that. The hunter pulled the extra pack. Let's kind of watch how these nameplates play out then. As any of them are casting, even if they're not one of the custom nameplate mobs, it will enlarge their nameplate. So I've got nothing targeted here. We'll kind of watch and see how this plays out. Oh, it looks like the hunter pulled the pack on the other side too. Good job. So you can see each one of their casts going off is enlarging those nameplates. Did take a little bit of messing with the stacking distance to make sure we're not getting too much overlap and we can see what's going on. Once again, we have that defend going up that needs to be interrupted. See right there? Then we stun it. There we go. Another thing that's handy with the headline mode is you can see what your team members and your Mythic Plus team are casting or doing. You don't always have to be looking at that, but it does help sometimes. Once again, in raid, I will turn off the friendly nameplates. That's a little too much in a 30-person raid. I also do have set up, I think we'll see it up ahead, a little bit of occlusion transparency, so if mobs are in a different room, it will dim out their frame a little bit. Let's take a look again. So we got plenty of mobs here. Said I did set up the stacking distances to be a little more favorable, so you're not getting a lot of overlap, but you can still look at a room of mobs and pick out the one that you need to. And that is done under Blizzard settings. It is saved in my profile, which I'll post a link to, but I'm not sure that it captures all of these options in the Blizzard settings. So by default, there's a horizontal overlap at 80%. You do want to, that's fine, and you want to change the movement model to stacking if it's not already, and then vertical overlap at 50% so far is what I found to be pretty decent. I have noticed sometimes when you're inside, it may get a little tight, and you'll have to adjust your camera angle to make sure you're seeing all of those nameplates like you would want. Okay, so those are stuns, those are normal mobs. The scales are all set up just to work on larger scale with a mouse over or by targeting. And then there's the target highlight there. Also in here, built into threat plates, of course, is its threat tracking function. So as a DPS, then the way I set it up, and I tried some different ways to do this until I find what I like the best, is the threat glow around the frame is the most handy to me. So let's pull this pack and kind of see how that works. Now they're all highlighted red around, and then it went yellow and green as the Pally picked it up. So green is fine for us, right? Means we don't have aggro. Oh, there's that stun. There we go. So of course he was highlighted red there because I had aggro. As soon as the Pally taunted that, went to green. Of course, if you're playing a tank, the colors will be opposite actually. So green if you have aggro, and yellow and red if you're losing aggro. So right here you can see some of the occlusion. These are faded out a little bit because I do not have line of sight to them. But if we come up here, they'll pop back up. See? There. This priest is highlighted in a pink color because he can be, we're watching him for cast, but we can interrupt it with a normal interrupt. So let's see if we can watch them for cast. Another thing that is set up in threat plates in my profile is buffs on the mobs, which will show up. Dispellable or spellstealable debuffs or buffs. So they'll show up right above. We hover over. That's inner fire. So we can't actually spellsteal that. Let's try not to kill the priest so we can watch his cast. Oh, guess he died. We'll find some more mobs up ahead so we can see how the cast watch looks on normally interruptible spells. Oh, here we go. Here, let's pull all these guys. So there's that greater heal. That's what we're watching for. So you can see they're casting Holy Smite, and their nameplates get bigger, but that cast bar is not highlighted with that color like the like that's orange for the stun. And in the same way, when it's a particular cast we're watching for on these priests, it'll highlight their cast bar in pink. So let's see what he does here. Oh, guess he did not get a chance. See, there's another buff I can spell steal. this pack up here has another priest, so see if we can not kill him before he gets to cast his heal. Okay, I have no target selected now, so we can watch his nameplate got bigger when he was casting. Same with that conjurer. Oh, looks like somebody killed the priest. That's alright. Ah, see, so saw that greater heal lit up. His frame got bigger, and it lit up that cast of his. So we know we want to interrupt that. If mobs are marked, it'll show up like that. So if you or the tank are marking the mobs, that'll be obvious right on the nameplates, so you know who to cover. There's that priest heal again. I do have threat plates set up to show my debuffs on target too, though I do believe I'm going to end up turning that off mostly for most of these dungeons. I don't need to see all the different things I'm doing to them, except for Winter's Chill on the mage. You know, you might want to leave Flame Shock on, say, for the Shaman, but that kind of functionality, and /TP is the command to get into threat plates. That kind of functionality is pretty easy to adjust. So they have widgets, and then you go into auras and what it can show. So debuffs will appear above the nameplate, and then if they have spell stealable buffs or dispels, it'll be above the debuffs. But here you can show debuffs. I'm showing mine, and then you can use a filter mode to only show what you want to come through. Currently I have the filter set to none, so I'll give an example here. We're going to hit these mobs right here with some different debuffs, and you'll see them all pop up above the nameplates. You can see Frozen Aura, Blizzard, multiple debuffs. Now if we turn this to allow, and it's still going to show just my debuffs, but it's only going to show the auras that I allow to come through. And let's go pick up these mobs right here. Now we're not seeing any debuffs except for Winter's Chill. If I apply that, then that is up on the mobs. Now the icon that's appearing to the left of the nameplates, I believe, is coming from boss mods. Let's see here. Yeah, right here. So some of our boss mods like Little Wigs and I think DBM2 has some information that gets passed along to the nameplates, and that's displayed off to the left. You can turn that off if you don't want it. Alright, so this is the last thing that I've got highlighted in here are mobs with frontals. So The bars will be highlighted in blue, and of course, if they're casting the frontal, their nameplate will get bigger, and then there'll be their cast will be highlighted with that blue color. Yep, so there's his spear attack. Get out of the way. Once again, there's his frontal. That went pretty fast right there, but I do also have it set up to watch him for his battle cry, which needs a normal interrupt. When he's casting that, his nameplate will actually turn pink, and then of course his spell cast is highlighted pink too, so you know you need a normal interrupt on that. So I've already gone through each of the dungeons and added in the different casters, so we get the correct highlighting on their frame. Same with the frontals and stuns. And then we've got tracking going on to highlight their cast bars if they're doing one of those casts we're looking for, or if they're casting one of those dodges. So this is all this information came from Quasi spreadsheet, which he has available for Season 2. So I manually input them all in and gave them the different appearances. Well, that's what I'm going to roll with. I'm sure I'll be tweaking as I go the different settings in here, but I definitely say this is much easier to work with than Plater, though I'm sure it doesn't do as much. I can see in Plater there's a lot more options available and scripts and all sorts of stuff. But like I said, Plater uses up a ton more resources, so... Oop. Guess I need to leave it there, but... So we look in the list there, Threat Plates is using only 7 megabytes of memory there. So if I load up Plater, it's much closer to where Details is, which makes sense. I think the same people make Plater that make Details. But Threat Plates is much more resource friendly. The nameplates seem to be pretty responsive, and they're doing what I need them to do. Yeah, here's a good example too of the occlusion effect on the transparency. Then as soon as we can see them, they pop right up, and then hover over gets it a little bigger, targeting gets it bigger and puts the glow around it. And then we'll take one more look at the way threat's set up here. So as soon as I pop on these mobs, it'll all be red, then quickly turn yellow and green as the pally picks them up. We got red highlights, and then Pally's picked everything up. The font and size is default threat plates, and I did actually tinker quite a bit with different fonts and different sizes. So you can maximize, the space you have, not be too distracting. And I actually came back to the default because it shows what the information I need pretty clearly, so I can easily just look up, read what I need to be tracking. So they all got plenty of buffs to steal, and let's get them all here. Maybe I can wipe the party again. So there's that greater heal that needs to get interrupted. course, we'll be using auto marking weak auras probably, so as you can see the marks pretty clearly on the frames. Alright, so this has actually run a little longer than I thought it was going to, but you can see how I've got threat plate set up, how it's working. We're going to run with this configuration at least to start with, and I'm sure I'll be tinkering it some more, but I've loaded up the threat plates profile I created to paste bin. I'll post a link up in the description. And hopefully if you're looking for a nameplate add-on, or maybe you want to adjust what you're using, go ahead and give threat plates a try. You can try my profile. And of course, it's pretty easy to tinker with. Most of the stuff in here makes pretty good sense. And you can adjust quite a few different things. Not as much as Plater, but then again, I didn't touch anything in Plater. I just used Quasi's profile because there's so many different options in there. And I'm sure that Quasi worked pretty hard to go through everything and tailor things to work just perfect for what he does. But I don't know, for me, something a little simpler and easier to actually modify myself. That's what I was looking for. So I will work with this as we work through the first dungeons in this next season and make sure this is what I want to use. And I'll probably try loading up Plater again with Quasi's new profile and see if I find anything superior about that. But this seems to have all the information that I want to have. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and I'll do a follow-up video if I end up not liking threat plates, or I end up changing a lot of stuff, or I switch back to Plater. I'll kind of walk through what I'm doing over there. Thanks again. Catch you on the next one.